This is the Louie T Network. Hey, either you're outside or you're
in the lab room.
Who else could it be but me, your man, Louie T? Welcome. You are in the lab room. Of course, I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 16 in the National Football League. Sunday Night Football. Big boy football. NFC West. Family business. If these two teams said they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, well, that's family business. Can't get much bigger than this. Seattle Seahawks come into the game at 10-4. Arizona Cardinals hosting this game at home, 11-3. Winner take all. I've dubbed this winner take all, even though Seattle could technically still lose this division winning this game if they don't take care of business in Week 17. Highly unlikely, however. And for the Arizona Cardinals, simple equation. Win and you are the 2014-2015 NFC West champions. So for Seattle, it's a twofold equation. Win Week 16 at Arizona, win at home versus St. Louis in Week 17, and you are the NFC West champions. And so this is a big game. And this is the worst time for the Arizona Cardinals to have Ryan Lindley at quarterback. You were able to escape last week against the St. Louis Rams. That's a team that struggles to score. That's a team playing with backup players, backup quarterback. Yeah, you were able to get away. This is a totally different animal, however. Ryan Lindley against that ferocious Seahawks D that's playing their best football by far of the season. Not the time for this. Not the time for this. And, you know, we've talked about the next man up mentality in Arizona. It's been well documented. Bruce, no matter what happens, whether the Cardinals, you know, are somehow able to win this division still, or the Cardinals are ounced and bounced from the playoffs in the first round and wild card weekend, it doesn't matter. Bruce Arians is the coach of the year. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care. I've heard Jason Garrett should have some votes for coach of the year. That's fine. He can get a vote or two. This is Bruce Arians' show right here. Coach of the year belongs to him. Nobody's endured what he's had to endure this season with all the injuries and suspensions. They went down the log, the catalog of injuries that this team has faced this season, or suspensions. I mean, the list is long, and they're all relevant players. I mean, you can miss me with all of the other teams that everybody deals with injuries. Yeah, everybody does deal with injuries. Not like this, though, okay? You know, you got some teams decimated by injuries on their offensive line. That's 5 different positions. Try having both of your starting quarterbacks, your starter, then your backup, who is also a guy that you trust as a starter. Try having both of those go down and still having to try to find a way to get it done. Your best running back, and by the way, you don't really have a good running game to begin with. Try having your running back, that's the best you got, go down. And you're pulling guys off of other people's practice squads and still getting it done. All you can do is tip your cap to Bruce Arians and say, man, hell of a job. Job well done, my man. And so he's the coach of the year, whether they win the division or they don't. They're already in the postseason. But this was a big one because I've already said this, and I think this to me right now is common knowledge, that the Cardinals have been the best team in this division all year long, but without home field advantage, the Cardinals are going to be reduced to next to nothing, especially if they have to trot Ryan Lindley out there. The best scenario for this team would have been to find a way to win the division, get the first round bye, which would allow them to then rest Ryan Lindley Week 17, which, you know, if you win this game in Week 16, he'd be able to rest Week 17. You'd be able to then rest first round bye, no game in Week 1 of the playoffs and wild card weekend, and then conceivably have him be able to play in the divisional round, literally almost a month away. So he'd have plenty of time to nurse that sprained knee and come back and be the guy that he was before the injury. Now, if you rush him back and he's got to come back, say, wild card weekend, because to me, he still can't play in Week 17. I don't think you risk him in Week 17 because whether you win that game or you don't, Seattle's probably not going to lose against St. Louis. Even if they do and they give you an opportunity, is it worth risking is it worth risking Drew Stanton in Week 17 to try to get something that is a long shot at this point versus you saving him regardless of what the circumstances are to get a chance to have him play in the postseason where it matters most? I think there's nothing to think about. That's a no-brainer. He didn't play again until the playoffs, whether it's wild card weekend or the divisional round. So this is a big one. And for the Seahawks, it's been an uphill battle all season long for them to get to this point. They got hot at the right time, and now they're just 2 wins away from repeating as NFC West champions. Tough place to go and get a win, but if anybody can do it, playing the type of football that they're playing with the injuries that the Cardinals have, it's this Seattle Seahawks football team. Let's jump into this one quickly. Midway through the second quarter, we get our first points of the game. Ryan Lindley goes 3 of 4 on a possession for 43 yards. And the one that he didn't complete almost turned into a disaster as he almost throws a pick in the end zone to Jeremy Lane. Luckily enough for him, Lane was not an inch taller. Had he been an inch taller, that probably was a pick. Either way, they're able to avert disaster there, tack on a field goal, make it 3-0. And to me, that was the possession. I said, look, you guys got to get 7 here, Arizona. I don't know how many times you're going to make it down here, all right? I need this to be 7. And they only got 3, and that's when I knew it's going to be hard for y'all to win this game. If you can't cash in here, put some pressure on the Seahawks, you're in trouble tonight because, again, I don't know how many times with Ryan Lindley as your quarterback you're going to get down into the red zone and have a realistic, viable option to score a touchdown. You got to take advantage of it, and they didn't. So I knew it was going to be rough for them. And this was on the heels of Russell Wilson having a 55-yard run and then having a miss by Stephen HAWKS. So you caught a break. That's why you got the great field position. That's why Ryan Lindley was able to go 3 or 4 for 43 yards and you be in a position to score a touchdown because you got great field position off the missed field goal. You don't know how many more times you're going to get great field position. I mean, Russell Wilson doesn't turn it over much. Their backs don't fumble that often. Unless you're able to get a Ted Ginn Jr. punt return or something of that nature, you're probably not going to have great field position like this again. You need to get 7. And you didn't. You got a field goal. I said, that's going to come back to haunt you. That's going to sting right there. So it's 3-0. And literally 2 plays after that touchdown, not counting the kickoff. 2 plays from scrimmage for the Seahawks. 80 yards. They're in the end zone. 7-3. They've never looked back again in this game. As dangerous Russell Wilson finds Luke Wilson. Oh, Mr. Wilson for an 80-yard touchdown. Beautiful bootleg out of the pocket. Just a bootleg bomb is what I call it. You come out, and Russell, most quarterbacks don't do what he does outside the pocket. I mean, he throws the football, to me, as accurate. The only guy that's more accurate than he is outside the pocket is one, Aaron Rodgers. And when you start mentioning guys in the same breath with a guy like A-Rod, you're doing something right. And so Russell throws it on the move as well as anybody else in the league, and he threw a beautiful ball to Luke Wilson. Oh, Mr. Wilson. And he had a hell of a game, did Mr. Luke Wilson. And he catches the football. I'm waiting for somebody. I'm waiting for someone in that Arizona Cardinals secondary to catch him. They could not get him. He gets in the end zone, 80-yard touchdown, just like that. You worked so hard to get that 3-0 lead. It's gone. It's 7-3 Seattle. And I said, that's why you needed to score a touchdown right there. Because they're getting touchdowns. You settling for field goals. This is not St. Louis. Okay? Not St. Louis. Not San Francisco. You're not winning this game with 6 field goals. This isn't Kansas City. Okay? You're not going to find a way to piece together field goals and win this game. You got to get in the end zone. So, 7-3. Then the Seahawks have an opportunity to get more points with great field position because the Cardinals, remember I told you earlier in the week, Bruce Arians had already said, hey, we're going to put together a little package for Logan Thomas, the rookie out of Virginia Tech, and see if we can't maybe hit a big play or have him come in and do something and give us a spark. Well, they're trapped deep in their own territory. They trot Logan Thomas out there, and they run a little bootleg of their own, a little play action, roll him out a little bit, and try to have a throwback pass where he goes out to the right, stops, plants. And you need time for this, and the offensive line didn't give him the adequate time for it. And actually, they said on the telecast that he didn't have anything. I'd like to take my shot with John Brown. I think he was running away from the safety, Earl Thomas. I don't think that the cornerback on that side was where he needed to be to stop this from taking place. If he puts this on the money, I think you might have something on that deep post corner, which is what Sheriff John Brown ran on this particular play, but he never got a chance to uncork the football. This kid can throw it a ton. And as he was winding up to let it loose, he gets hit on the play by Cliff Averill. Ball stops about 35 yards down the field. He needed to throw it about a good 55, 60. And so, incomplete pass. You wasted it down, essentially. He comes out of the game. Back in comes Ryan Lindley. You end up going 3 and out. You have to punt from your own end zone. It's almost blocked by Richard Sherman. And the kick goes all of 39 yards. That's where the Seahawks start their possession at your 39-yard lines. So, essentially, they've got to go 40 yards for a score. And again, in a game where you can't afford to have that happen, that's trouble. And they almost got Richard Sherman for roughing. They realized that Tony Jefferson pushed him into the kicker, so they pick up the flag. And 6 plays later, Seahawks are in the end zone. They hit pay dirt beast mode in the end zone as it's now 14-3. And at this point, you realize Cardinals are in trouble tonight. And we already knew that. But, I mean, you can tell yourself, if you're a Cardinals fan, if you're delusional enough, you can somehow convince yourself that with Ryan Lindley as your quarterback, you're going to find a way to get it done, because that's what you've done all season. You found a way to get it done. Problem is, this isn't San Francisco. This isn't Kansas City. This isn't St. Louis. This is Seattle. Different animal, different beast you're dealing with here. So, going to be tough for you to find a way to get it done and piece together a victory. Now it's 14-3. And this is my problem here is the Cardinals defensively. You can sit here and look at the final score and try to make it out to be something that is not. I'm here to tell you the defense did all they could. I mean, I don't know what more you want. The score was 14-6 in the fourth quarter. I don't know what more you want this Cardinals defense to do. I don't know. I don't know what you expect from them. Were you looking for them to generate a turnover and be extraordinary? They've done all that they could have done in this game at 14-6 in the fourth quarter. This team is only down 1 score in the fourth quarter. They've hung on for dear life. I mean, with the way the offense has been inept all game, this defense deserves a golf clap just for having it 14-6 in the fourth quarter, okay? But at some point, you knew that dam was going to break, okay? They were holding on, bending but never breaking, and then finally, in the fourth quarter, they broke. I wasn't mad at them for this score ending up 35-6. They did everything they could do. They got no help, and at some point, they were going to break down. I mean, there's only so much pressure you can put on this defense to produce before they say, hey, where's our help? We need some help. Give us a break on the bench. Put together a drive. Do something. Don't keep sending us out here 3 and out, and just sending us on the field and expecting us to feed off the energy of the crowd and get a stop. You've got to do something. And they didn't do anything. And so in the fourth quarter, the Seahawks took over. Beastquake Part 2. So we get a Part 2 to the Beastquake run. It wasn't as dramatic, but it was just as effective, just as long, if not long. Matter of fact, it was longer because this one was about 80 yards. Just like that, it goes from 14-6 to 21-6. Then Mr. Wilson, oh Mr. Wilson, Luke Wilson strikes again. He gets in the end zone. It's 28-6. Then Russell Wilson puts together a freeze tag touchdown. And what a freeze tag touchdown is, he rolls out on bootleg to his left. And to his surprise, he shows up and there's an Arizona Cardinals defender waiting on him. Don't remember who it was. Really doesn't matter because they played freeze tag and Russ loaded him to sleep, gave him a shake and a shimmy. The guy just froze, freeze tag, somebody gonna freeze me. Come on, I need somebody to touch me. And Russ just went right by him. And then he got into the end zone and he just took his little time getting to the end zone, touchdown. And that's when you knew this defense was defeated at that point. And that made it 35-6. And that was off the heels of a Dick Sherman interception that set up that final touchdown. And so, 35-6 is your final. That really doesn't indicate how close this game was for the most part. I mean, again, for 3 1/3 quarters, this game was 14-6. Defense did all they could do for the Arizona Cardinals. The offense was no help to them in this game. And at some point, that dam was going to break. It broke in the fourth quarter with about 9 minutes to go. And that was all she wrote. And so, give credit where credit is due. This Seattle Seahawks team, they did what they were supposed to do. They took advantage of some of the faults of the Arizona Cardinals, mainly that quarterback position, and they went out like a cobra and struck. They got them in a vulnerable position, and they pounced on them, and they didn't let them up. They gave up 2 field goals the entire night. I say that's some productive football. Wouldn't you say so? And so they took care of business on the road, did what they were supposed to do to Ryan Lindley. Again, nobody is winning with Ryan Lindley, okay? You can beat all the bottom feeders you want with Ryan Lindley at quarterback. You will not, I repeat, not beat any postseason team with Ryan Lindley at quarterback. So you better pray that Drew Stanton is at 80% because, again, a 60% Drew Stanton does you no good. You need Drew to be 80 to 90%. He's not going to be 100%. The only way he could have been 100% is if you would have got the first round bye and have been able to escape until the divisional round. Then Drew would probably have been 100% and ready to go and rock and roll. But if he's got to go on a wild card weekend, which right now to me is the target date for him, he can't play in week 17. I don't care if he practices and looks good. I wouldn't put him out there against San Francisco because it's not worth it. You wait till wild card weekend and whomever you draw, you just go out there and you see if you can use that defense and some timely offense from Drew Stanton and the group on the offensive side to win that football game and see if you can't find your way back to one of these powerhouses in either Seattle or potentially Green Bay or Detroit in the divisional round and see if you can't get you a win there as well. But we'll see. This is a Cardinals team that defensively, they're going to mix it up with some teams. And if I were in the postseason, I still don't want any part of this Cardinals football team because I'm telling you right now, defensively, they're going to shut your butt down. They're going to make you work for whatever you get. You're going to work for it. It's not coming easy. And Seattle was struggling for 3 1/3 quarters until the dam broke. And that's when they went off and made this score look like this game was no contest. When really, they were hanging tough. They just didn't get any help from their offense. But kudos to the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to go ahead and tell you the NFC West champions. Technically, you got to win one more game. I don't see St. Louis coming into your house and getting a W. I just don't. But if anybody can, it's St. Louis. But I just don't see it happening. So congratulations on you winning the NFC West, Seattle Seahawks. It's been a tough, long journey, but you found a way to get it done. For the Cardinals, I feel bad for you. But, hey, no time to hang your head because you've got more football. You got bonus football coming. You're already in the postseason. So job well done there. Now you just got to find a way to get it done in wild card weekend. You got San Francisco week 17. You're at their place. Be nice to finish with a W. Give yourself a chance. You never know what Seattle will do out there with St. Louis, but when it's all said and done, I just don't see it happening. But we'll see. That's going to do it for Seattle and Arizona. It happens in the National Football League, whether big or small. We cover it all here in the lab room. Come back and join me as I continue to break down week number 16 in the National Football League. See you in a bit.